Hey everyone, this is Samuel7 here with another review. And today I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite anime, Berserk. And for anyone who's going to ask, yes, I'm going to be reviewing the movies as well. And with that out of the way, let us begin. Okay, so the story of Berserk takes a rather interesting approach to beginnings where Episode 1 is technically the present of the series, while episode 2 and onward towards the end is basically a big backstory to how it got to that point. And kudos to that, because I actually really like how the story was handled. It's essentially about one man's search for purpose, in this case Guts, and one man's search for glory, in this case of Griffith. Now, like I've said, the story is one of the best parts of Berserk, and quite frankly, with some minor pacing issues, I generally had no issue with the story, and thumbs up for that. So how about the characters? Essentially, there are three I want to talk about, so I'll just get that out of the way. Okay, starting off with the main female character, Casca. There are times when I'm kind of or iffy about her, but for the most part, I did like how her character was handled, and she eventually became a favorite of mine, so kudos for making a character I was iffy about become likable later. Next up is Griffith. To cut a long story short, the less I say about him, the better, because just talking about anything about him is a dead giveaway to the series and what's going to happen to him later on. Just know that he is he is also one of my favorite characters in the show. Actually, one of the most complex characters I've seen in any kind of anime, so I'd say he's one of my favorites on that. But overall, I think Griffith is a very built-up character that I think had a very good payoff. Even though I didn't really like how the payoff turned because it made me sad. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but overall, the payoff was very well executed, and I couldn't ask for anything more. And the last character I'm going to talk about is the main protagonist himself, Guts. And I'm just going to get this out of the way. Guts is one of my favorite characters in any kind of fiction. I'm dead serious when I say that. He feels three-dimensional, he is very relatable, you get where he's coming from, and the way he fights, I fucking love it. Especially how he's able to use a giant-ass sword almost as big as he is. That's friggin' awesome. Seriously, Ichiko Kurosaki, you take some lessons from that. But no offense to Bleach fans on that one. Overall, what makes Guts amazing is not just all that, the complexity of how his character is just similar. It's similar to Griffith. I really like that, and Guts overall is, in my opinion at least, one of the most relatable characters of all time. Though, compared to what I've heard from the manga, that could change. We'll see about that. Kind of one of the reasons why I'm a bit hesitant to read it, but I'm still going to regardless. So, yeah. Huge thumbs up for Guts. And the supporting cast in general, namely the Band of the Hawk, and some of the royalty, I think the supporting cast, for the most part, does a pretty damn good job. While I do wish they were fleshed out a bit more, overall, I am happy with it, and good job. If I had to pick, and as far as my favorite of the supporting cast goes, that would have to be Judo, Gaston, and somewhat of the Princess Charlotte. I mean, she's kind of mixed with me at times, but I like her for the most part, so kudos. Next up, the animation. Okay. I do admit that it is the weakest part of the show, and that it does have its problems, but at the same time, it came out in the late 90s, so you couldn't really expect too much back then. I personally don't have a problem with the animation, and I actually like it. But for the most part, the grittiness of it really fits the atmosphere of the show, and I couldn't really ask for more. Well, at times, yeah, I do wish there were certain parts that could have been handled. Namely, a scene that Connor, namely a scene that a friend of mine showed me from episode 10 or episode 9. one of the two episodes, yeah, I do admit that the animation could be better, but personally, I don't really hate it all that much. It's a rocky side, but yeah. Okay, next up is the soundtrack. I fucking love the soundtrack. Like, I'm not even kidding. I love Berserk's soundtrack. Like, I can't remember the name of the composer for the music. Like, if anyone knows the name, put it down in the comments, please. I greatly appreciate it. But I really like how the music, although it only has, like, 9 OST pieces, it really fit the atmosphere of the scenes they were going in. And just with 9 pieces, that's really fucking impressive. So, overall, soundtrack, 10 out of 10 by itself. I'd listen to it on its own any day. Especially if I use it to read the manga of Berserk, so it did good on that. Now, should you go with this sub or dub? As usual, I watch Berserk with its dub almost every time I watch it, and personally, I prefer the dub more. Mostly because Mark Ryson, to me at least, is guts. But it's similar to how people view Crispin Freeman as Alucard or Johnny Young Bosch is Bastard Stampede. Mark Ryson is guts to me. Though special mention has to also go out to Kevin D. Collins as Griffith and Carrie Clarendon, I hope I pronounced her name right, as Casca. All three of them in general, I think, do a pretty damn good job as their characters. And though people may argue that Kevin's performance as Griffith is pretty stoic and flat, I thought it fit the character because Griffith, in a way, is also kind of stoic and flat at times, so I thought that fit the performance. Also, before I forget, Berserk has a shit ton of bloopers, and in my opinion, please watch them. You will laugh your ass off, trust me. They are fucking hilarious. I don't know if... Granted, I haven't seen too many anime bloopers, so I don't know if I'd say these are the best. But for now, at least, I think they are. So yeah, overall, I'd give the dub a watch. Like, overall, I would recommend it with the dub. Though, from what little I've heard in the sub, both versions, honestly, are fine either way. So, again, while I'd recommend watching the dub, you can go into its sub if you want. So, there you go. So... Now, do I have any problems with the show? Yes. Yes. Like I said, there are certain parts that, from what I found out, were cut out from the manga, but runtime and all that. The final episode, though, while I'm not going to give anything away, it's a king of read the manga endings. That's all I'm going to mention. It is, like, it's a giant-ass cliffhanger that makes you want to know what happens. So, yeah, problems, just minor parts that I wish could have been explained a bit more, and the ending. But really, that's all the arguments I have with it. So overall, I give Berserk, I give it a 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. Problems do hold it back a bit, but overall, I'd still recommend it fully, because, like I said, it became one of my favorite anime. And I'm not even kidding when I say this. I stayed up till like 5 a.m. in the morning just to finish it. That's how much I love this series. Alright, so that essentially ends this video, and I will see you all in the Berserk movie review. So, until then, peace for now.